Paul George shattered his leg a couple of years ago playing for USA Basketball.
Yeah.
He's lucky to be back in a situation that he's in. Anything can happen. It's the same thing as stay in college for one more year. No, if you're going to be a first-round pick, you go.
Paul George is coming off a 5-year, $91.5 million contract. I don't feel bad for Paul George.
Nobody's saying
if you
feel
want the
bad.
special Supermax where you make $209 million, then be All-NBA. You have one more year. You stay in this deal.
He could have been.
No.
He should have been All-NBA. You could have argued it.
No, there's a reason he wants this extension now. It's because he doesn't want to be in Indiana anymore. He wants to sign the extension and then get traded to L.A.
Yes.
So I don't feel bad for him.
All right, again, what I was trying to say, though, is that you cut me off when I was saying the Supermax is in place, intended so that teams can keep their superstars.
Yeah.
Teams can keep their stars.
So you need to be a superstar first. Paul George isn't a superstar.
Right, just like restricted free agency was about keeping your draft picks.
Yeah.
Because you draft somebody and then 4 years later he could just bolt, he can leave, and then you're in a lurch. You don't have your guy you just drafted. It's the same thing now with this. It's ways to control so that teams don't lose these players. But here's a situation that you're saying all you have to do is wait one more year, stay being a star, you can get your money. But as you can see, he's itching to get out of Indiana. So while it almost now, because he doesn't have that Supermax available, it motivates him to leave even more than ever. And that's the kind of point I'm making.
And that's the one thing that you wonder about.
No, it doesn't. It motivates him to stay one more year.
Well,
if you opt into this year, your deal making $20 million.
That's a gamble.
What do you mean it's a gamble?
It's a gamble. It's absolutely a gamble.
It's a risk. It's a risk.
He had a terrific year, and he wasn't one of the top. He was not on the top 3 NBA teams. Who's to say he doesn't have another good year? And because Indiana's not that good, and nobody watches them, that once again it costs him money. Now it costs him another year of his life.
But it's not going to cost them money. He's going to still sign that same deal that he could sign this year if he opted out. It's not going to be a different deal.
The Supermax?
He's not going to get the Supermax unless he stays in Indiana for one more year and becomes All-NBA.
That's the
point.
He
stays,
it's a risk if he stays.
He's making $20 million. If he wants to bet on himself, and if you think you're that good that you deserve $209 million, you stay in Indiana, you get All-NBA, and then you sign the Supermax, and then you go wherever the hell you want to go.
Again, my point is if you're Indiana, this is supposed to help you keep your stars. It doesn't work for him this year.
For one more year.
He's not going to do that.
Then he's
how
an
do
idiot.
you possibly risk
then
that
he's an
at
idiot.
this point of his career?
He already
if you're
made
an agent, how could you
$92
tell
million,
a player,
and he's making $20 this year. It's not that much of a risk. If you think you're that good and you deserve $40 million a year, it's not a risk. It's a calculated risk.
But if in the back of his mind, this is his opportunity to get to the Lakers, because maybe if I wait a year, they're already going in a different direction, this is my time to do that then.
Dude,
so either I stay and take the money, or I go to L.A. This is the time to make that decision, not next year.
No, what do you mean not next year?
How do you make that decision next year?
If you think you're a Supermax player, every team in the league should want your services.
Every team owner wants their GM to think like Rick right now. It's so surprising hearing it coming from a former player.
He's flipped on this.
I get what Rick is saying, right?
I get what he's saying too.
You want to remove all doubt. If you think you deserve a $200 million plus contract, then you should remove all doubt and you should be an All NBA player. The problem I have with the process is that this is up to the media. They control who's going to have the opportunity to be able to get this.
How can you have a problem with that, seriously?
Because you can make an argument for the guys on the second and third NBA teams. You can make an argument that Paul George belongs on one of those teams.
Yep.
It's so subjective.
I think
I'm
Gordon
surprised
Hayward,
with you. I'm surprised with you.
Why are you surprised with
Because
me?
you've been in that room before. You've been in those negotiations.
Yes.
And you know exactly how those negotiations went. The players probably said, listen, we want to be in charge of who's in All-NBA so we control our money. And the owner said, no, that's not going to happen. We're not just throwing away $209 million to whoever you guys feel like is All-NBA. What we're going to do is, how about we have the GMs do it? No. Players, we're not doing the GMs. They're not going to do it because they're not going to control that. We need a third party. Who's the third party? Both sides say,
the media.
Let's do the media.
But is the media really a non-biased third party?
The players agreed to it, Chris. The players agreed to it.
I get what you're saying, but here's the flaw in the players' logic if they're saying that they're going to leave it up to a nonpartisan entity like the media. Here's where the problem is. The media's going to stick around and they're going to side with the owners rather than the players because the players are not going to be around as long as the team owner.